Yo guys, what's up and welcome to a brand new Hijomeatman news video. Today we're going to be doing the Let's Talk on the Sepang test that obviously went from Sunday till Tuesday, and there were 30 riders present, and we're just going to be going over those 3 days of information on the, with the combined times list. So, right, here we are again. For the first official test of 2018, obviously we did have the Valencia one, obviously that was in 2017, so this is the first test of 2018. So obviously we saw a bunch of new bikes, a bunch of new riders, 2 new liveries, new aero stuff and all that, but we'll be talking about that throughout this video. So yeah, hopefully you all are looking forward for that malarkey, and well, without further ado, let's get straight into the action. So
okay, so we're going to start off with Jorge Lorenzo, who finally, on a Ducati, was on top of the timing sheets. To start 2018 off in a very good way for him. He set a 1 minute 58.830, which was 2/10 under Danny Pedrosa's still current lap record, because it's not an official record that Lorenzo set, although he was under the lap record. It's a bit stupid, but Jamie, Jorge Lorenzo back on top on a Ducati, and quite a decent gap to the next rival.
The only rider obviously in a 1:58 on this time sheet. And he does look good. He said he rode that Ducati like he rode Yamaha. So obviously he has a lot more feeling on the front and stuff like that. They do have this new aero package, which is a little bit different to last year's. I mean, it's very similar, but it's I don't know, it's a bit different. He obviously feels comfortable on the bike. The bike looked really good through the videos, honestly, that we got shown. It's obviously still a bullet in a straight line, and it can go through corners a little bit better. And obviously, when you put Lorenzo on a bike like that, it goes well. 1:58.8. It is the record time, but it's not the record time, like you said. A bit stupid. I don't really understand these kind of things. You either done a record time or you've not. But that is the fastest ever time on 2 wheels around Sepang, so he's probably happy with that. We've done pretty well overall throughout all the days of testing, and I think it's definitely going to be a lot better than last year. Obviously, he's more used to this Ducati now. He's adapted his style fully, and overall the bike just looks a bit more towards his style. Probably still suits Strobe really well too, but now it looks like Lorenzo can actually ride that bike too. So it could be a pretty interesting season for Lorenzo. Obviously he's looking to do well after the kind of miserable 2017 season. I don't think he could have started it in a better way, P1, and with a record time. And it's only the first test. We've still got a couple more to go and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Definitely think he'll be up there. And the Spartan is probably back now, which should be always exciting. Obviously, more people at the front, always the better. You know, having these bigger groups. But he was P1, and he was under Danny's lap record time, who's in P2, which is interesting.
Now, the not current lap record that Pedrosa set in 2015 is a 1:59.053, so bear that in mind, because the top 3 riders were under that lap record, albeit the 3rd place man only by 1,000th of a second, but still, it's still under the lap record. And yeah, obviously, like Joe said, talking to Danny Pedrosa, he was 2nd place on the time streets. Now, he also brought out a bit of an interesting aero design, didn't he? Obviously, all the photos are kind of down in the bottom middle of the screen. You can see all the photos from the test. And yeah, like Joe said, it was a bit of a hammerhead sort of thing, and I really liked it. It looked good. Obviously, it worked for Pedrosa because he topped day 1, and obviously he's 2nd position at the end of the 3 days. So, and as well, he was under his lap record pace. So it's working for him. Whatever, and
good.
Hopefully, like we were saying earlier, Jamie, the old Danny Pedrosa is back where he can fight round in, round out. So hopefully.
Yeah. Apparently,
hopefully it'll work.
Honda have listened to all the riders, and they've given a bike that's just probably a bit easier to ride. And like you just said, Danny looked really good on it. I am hoping, like I said earlier, obviously I wasn't on camera or anything, but I'm hopefully, like I said earlier, because obviously we know that Danny Pedrosa, when it's like a hot day or like a hot track, so like Jerez or Sepang, Valencia. Also, Sepang this year was wet, so he wasn't really anywhere. But these kind of tracks where it's really hot and humid and stuff like that, he always goes really well because the tyres, obviously, they just heat up naturally. Whereas like cold tracks, Austria, like all these kind of places, he can't heat up the tyres, and then you basically just don't see Dani Pedrosa up there anymore. So I do hope this time wasn't just because it is Sepang and it is a really hot track. I do hope it's also, I don't know, the new aero package. It might add a bit of additional weight, which might create more temperature. I don't know, because obviously the heavier you are, it's kind of easier to warm up the tyre temperatures. I do hope that kind of has some relevance, but also that he can go through the corners easier. Because obviously, like he was saying, I think it was 2016. They put on some wings to try and add some weight, but then he couldn't lean through the corners too well because it was a bit heavier. He couldn't quite get through the corners as good. So that weekend was just a disaster. But hopefully, this new kind of way more, I don't know, abstract design for a Honda. Normally when we've seen them have wings, it's been like a tiny little triangle thing.
Yeah, the little
now it's got like
thing on the side.
It's got like a massive hammerhead. Hopefully this thing can help him go through corners and heat up the tyres, and we might see Dani Pedrosa back. Obviously in the Sepang test we have seen him back under his record time by a couple thousandths of a second, and P2 in overall in the test on that Honda. So that is looking good. I do hope he is back. I mean, it's been a little while since we've seen a strong Dani. I mean, we saw it at Jerez last year. Just came in there and dominated that malarkey. But he looks good. I do hope he does well. So he kind of does need to do well now. It's getting to that point, obviously, this season. When the season ends, the rider market opens. There's some probably young people in Moto2 that'll be looking to take that seat. Or other riders in other categories and stuff. And if he's like getting P4, P5, like stuff like that, it's probably not the best thing to do on a factory Honda. But he started off well, just like Lorenzo, both of them doing exactly what they have to do. And P3, like you said, is another guy under the record time, which, to be honest, I wouldn't have expected if you had said that this guy done it. He done it by 1,000th of a second, though, which is obviously not a lot at all, but it is under record time, so it's obviously a very quick lap. And that is Cal Crutchlow on the LCR Honda Castrol. Now, I don't know, are they actually using Castrol the entire season? Or are they going to be switching? Because I do like that Castrol livery. It's pretty classic. I don't know, it looks quite nice. I'm
hoping it will be Castrol. Now, Nakagami's got a fixed Idemitsu on the other side of the garage. Hopefully, Cecchinado's gone, okay, let's have a fixed sponsor for Cal. Instead of going Givy, the little black one, is it Rivi, or whatever it is. Zona, or I think there's something beginning with R, and then Castrol. So hopefully, like I say, Castrol will be that bike for the whole season, that livery, because like I say, it is nice. But as Jamie said, Cal Crutchlow third. Again, like echoing Jamie, wouldn't have expected that to happen at all, really. But
I mean, it's Cal.
Good start for him. Yeah, okay, he had a crash, but as did Jorge Lorenzo. Like on his run before he set the lap record, he crashed at the final corner. But Cal, did have a crash. Didn't really bother him though, because on day 3, I believe, day 3, he set his best time of a 1:59.052. And he also said, like Jamie said with Pedrosa, that Honda have listened to all the riders and have built a bike which suits every rider on a Honda. And hopefully it will work for everybody, and this test isn't a fluke, and all Hondas can be fighting there with Ducati and Yamaha, but we'll have to wait and see. But Cal, he's known for crashing it a little bit, let's be honest. So if he can knock that back, I think he can show the pace that he's shown in this test every single round, because we've seen in the past he's got wins, he's got 2 wins on the LCR, was it last year, and then podiums. He got a podium in Argentina, and it's just great.
I mean, he does have the.
Well, I say last year is we're in 2018 now, aren't we? Not 2017.
He does have the capability to do these things. He does have that kind of like raw pace. Those crashes could have been a consequence of like the bike being a bit more difficult to ride, whereas now it might be a bit easier. So that might help it out a little bit. I don't know. Hopefully it does, because obviously it would be quite nice to see more bikes up there, especially an LCR. Castrol. Obviously, Honda will be hoping it's not a similar situation to Yamaha last year, with the Tech 3 kind of like the B team beating them. Like if Cow was beating both riders or something, that probably wouldn't be too good for Honda. Like I do believe he is riding is he riding the 2017 Honda or the 2018 Honda? Because these people all get a bit confusing for me.
He's riding the 2018 Honda, and I believe Nakagami is on the 2017 Honda.
Obviously, Cow has been testing a couple different frames and stuff. I don't actually know if he's tested the Hammerhead, though. I didn't see any images, so I'm not sure if he has. But I would have thought so, because practically every bike looks like it has a Hammerhead. It's kind of similar thing.
He was the kind of the same as Marquez. There was the benefits, and then there was the drawbacks for it, whereas Pedrosa just seemed to be like, this is quite good.
this is litty. But he was P3, Cow Crutchlow. Not bad. I think it was pretty positive. Overall for all the Honda riders, but in P4 we do have another Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso, obviously P2 in 2017, very kind of disappointing way to end that season for him, but he is in P4, number 4, P4, like I said, on that Ducati with a time that wasn't too far out of the record time. I mean, a 10th and a little bit, not too bad, a 159.169. He looks obviously pretty good. Obviously his time was set on day 3 also, like most of the riders. But he looks quite comfortable too. I believe he had a little crash on one of the days, a little tumble. But yeah, he looks quite comfortable. I think it's going to be a pretty good season for him and him and Lorenzo. I think they're going to do pretty well. And obviously, I don't know, they're both really good riders. Obviously, Lorenzo's a 5-time world champion or whatever, and then Dovizioso, he's a multiple race winner now. Still no title, but he done a really good fight last year. And you would have thought this year's just going to come back even stronger. Yeah. So it should be exciting. It's going to be interesting to see between these two Ducati riders if Dobby's going to use this hammerheady kind of malarkey, because obviously last year he didn't really kind of use the aero too much, whereas Lorenzo did all the time. So I don't know. Most of the shots of Lorenzo throughout the test he was using it, and then Dobby he was kind of like sometimes with it, sometimes not. So I don't know. Dobby might not really fancy abstractness on his bike.
He wants the bike to look like a bike, not like an aero bike.
But
yeah, hopefully he could just continue what he did in 2017, but go one better. And
that would be good.
Obviously, looking at this, if everything stays the same as his testing, it's going to be quite hard, because there is a lot of names, even some further down. Their race pace is a lot better than their lap time, their position.
So obviously, all these lap times, these are the fastest lap. Obviously, the fastest lap has no real meaning over a full race distance, because it's just you've got to have this certain rhythm and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be close, because obviously these times, even these fastest times, they're pretty close. For saying it's the first time they're all riding out here, and every day everyone was kind of on like a different bike, pretty much. But it should be exciting. We should see this year bigger groups, maybe Phillip Island style or something like that. That's at least what I'm predicting. It might not be like that at all. We might just see Ducati just go into the distance, or Hondas or something like that. But that's kind of like my little prediction in the back of my head. Gonna have some groups. But yeah,
I think that as well. To be honest, I think it's going to be quite close.
Should be exciting.
I hope. And one name who could bring some excitement in 2018 is Jack Miller, who ended the 3 days in 5th on the new branded Alma Pramac racing bike. 159.346 for him. Only 0.2, just under 0.2 off the runner-up in 2017. That's pretty impressive for saying as well he's not on the new bike.
He is obviously on the bike that Dobby and Lorenzo rode last year. So, but he does have the new. Well, he has been testing the new aero. He looks really good. Like, I wasn't expecting, to be honest, when Jack Miller signed for Pramac, I was expecting him to struggle, because normally you see these riders go on Ducati for the first time, and they're kind of a bit dodgy. Whereas he just seems to adapt to this bike quite easily. Obviously, this bike is heaps and way better than any other Ducati. That has been in down 16, 15, all that malarkey. So he has gone onto a really, really good bike, and he's done a really, really good lap time, which is pretty good. Maybe it's just the Australian thing. Australians hop onto Ducati and do stuff. But Jack Miller, P5, I think it's going to be like Petrucci last year, where he got the odd podium or the odd front row, stuff like that. I think he's going to be like that, but a bit better because obviously Petrucci has the tyre wear issues and whatnot. I think Jack Miller is going to be there often, but he does crash a bit too, so that could be a bit interesting. Hopefully he gets no injuries or anything this year and is consistent. But it's good. I mean, new rider, new bike, and it's all gone well. It's always exciting to see those kind of things. And see Jack Miller's name that high is quite interesting too. Obviously on the Mark VDS it was a bit lower down, struggling a little bit. But that should be exciting and interesting. How far was he actually off of the record time?
3/10.
3/10. That's not even that much. And obviously if he was on the Mark VDS he'd probably be down in like 17th or something silly. But Jack Miller, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do this year. Hopefully he does have some consistency. He's on a very good bike. So hopefully he is there to pick up a podium or two, or maybe another win. Who knows? But following him in P6, there's another name which kind of surprised me a little bit to be up there. Don't know if it was a name or the bike really, but Alex Rins, P6 on the Suzuki with a time of a 1:59.348. So he was 2 tenths behind, well, 2 thousandths out of Jack Miller's time. I wasn't expecting him to be that high. To be honest, obviously it's his second season now. But I don't know, the way the Suzuki were looking...
I was expecting him to be somewhat high up after a good end to the season, obviously a 4th in Valencia. But in front of the 3 names that are behind him, I wasn't expecting that, especially
well,
with...
4 names even.
Well, yeah, 4, well, maybe 5, 6, if you add the other Pramac rider and then his teammate as well. A lot of experienced riders, looking all the way down right until the last rider, who was obviously not a rookie or a test rider who's in the list, and he's in front of some big names. So, what was I on about? Suzuki, they had 2 engine blow-ups with Iannone. One of them leaving the bike kind of with flames coming out the exhaust, and luckily Rins, from what I believe, obviously we weren't over in Sepang, so we didn't see everything. We might miss a few things. From what I believe, he didn't have any technical issues or any crashes or anything. He went throughout the 3 days just getting some more data on the bike. Because obviously last year he was injured as well quite badly, so he's still probably learning a few things that he's missed out in last year. So yeah, P6, bit surprising for me, and hopefully Suzuki can sort out that reliability issue and they can both be near the front like it was in the end of the season.
That would be good also to see Suzuki back. They do have concessions back also, which you do have to remember. Obviously that means basically open development, more engines, more I believe, more testing.
More engines, more testing, more
all that kind of stuff.
Cards.
So we should see Suzuki hopefully back up the front. Maybe Rins more than Iannone. I would have thought it would have been the other way around. But obviously we don't know. Iannone might be really quick, but obviously he didn't quite get the opportunity to do too much when his bike didn't want to work. But I think Suzuki, I think they're going to be up there again this year. I think they're definitely going to challenge for the podium a couple more times. That is the goal of the team. They want to threaten that podium as much as they possibly can. They got a bit better last year, like you said, and then they're not doing too shabby here in P6. Like you said, ahead of a couple big names, with the first name being Maverick Vinales. Obviously, the god of testing of last season. The rider everyone thought was going to just dominate, and then he ended up winning 2 races, the first 2 rounds, won Le Mans,
and then that was it.
I don't know if he won anything else, to be honest. I think he got a couple points. I think that was it, and that was basically it. Yamaha, they just vanished. They got real awful, and obviously the goal of this test was to come back to the top. He done really well day one, I think it was. Well, he looked good throughout all the days. His fastest lap time was a 1:59.3, which is not awful. It's not quite as good, obviously, as Lorenzo and riders like that. But his times, they were pretty good. But day 3 was kind of where not just Mavericks, but also Rossi's pace kind of evaporated. Now, obviously, I don't know. They might have been testing something else. They might have put on a different part. They might have been using old tyres. I don't know, but the way the riders spoke about day 3 and how Yamaha talked about day 3, it didn't sound like it was any of those reasons. It sounded more, I don't know, like something wasn't quite clicking. Just the way they spoke and the mood But hopefully Yamaha don't have any issues, because I do want to see Maverick, Rossi, you know, all these bikes up there. I don't want to see Yamaha roaming around, you know, P8 and 9 and stuff like that like last season, because they are a bit depressing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happened day 3.
No, it was just a bit strange, really.
It's just
how they went from doing P1 and P2 on the second day, and then really struggling. I think Maverick was down in 17th, I think, on day 3. Rossi was 8th. So
both their times were set on day 2.
On day 2, yeah.
So day 3, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they changed something of the bike, or they didn't go for a far. I don't know, but it didn't quite go to plan.
I mean, I was watching on the app, and the last 15 minutes, which is obviously the time for Q2 or Q1, Rossi went out to do what I think was a quali simulation. He did 1 lap, then come back in the pits, then did 2 laps, and the flag went out. So I don't know if he went for a quali, and he did set his personal best as well. He was down in, I think, 12th, and then went up to 8th. So I think he did go for a bit of a qualifying run, and the lap time that he set, Rossi, he was the same time, pretty much the same time as what he set in qualifying last year. So I don't know whether, I know Maverick from, I think it was 2 or 3 days before the test, in an interview, he said he wanted to focus on being fast for 20 laps, not just the 1. So I don't know if that's all he was focusing on and not bothering with that 1 lap. Obviously, I think he might have done it on the second day, and then again not bother with it on the 3rd. But yeah, it was a bit weird how both of the Movistar Yamaha riders lost all the feeling that they had on day 3. I think it's that new livery. Anyway, in between the two of them is the reigning world champion Marc Marquez on the Repsol Honda. He was only 27 thousandths off Maverick with a time of a 1 minute 59.382, and well, I was a bit shocked to see his name a little bit further down than I thought it would have been, really. But it's tested. Don't know what he's trying, but yeah, he says he's still struggling a little bit to find, you know, the path that he wants to be on. So is Marc Marquez struggling here? Could we have a season of like you said earlier about Danny not wanting to be like Honda in general not wanting to be 2017 with LCR doing well, and not could it be like that? Could Marquez
could well be. I mean, obviously we don't know. He might have just not wanted to go for a qualifying lap. I don't know. Obviously, might be testing things like Ryan said before. He doesn't know which fairing he likes, which frame he likes more, like the aerodynamic one, the not aerodynamic one. He still doesn't really know what he wants to run with. I don't know. When I was watching the testing, he didn't look as good as usual. When they show him, he looks. I don't know. He didn't look as good. But his time's not even that awful. I mean, 1:59.3.
No.
So it's a quick time. It's just that everyone else is just kind of gone a little bit quicker than normal. It's mainly Lorenzo and Pedrosa doing very good times, and obviously, Crutchlow by 1 thousandths. But everyone's just got quicker. The bikes have just got faster. You would have thought. And I don't know. Marquez, he might have not gone for a qualifying lap, or he might have semi-tried, because he did say in an interview that he didn't want to risk too much in a test, because if you do have a nasty crash, you could break a bone. You could do what Alex Rin's done and miss a whole bunch of testing and struggle, or you could do anything. And I don't know, maybe he didn't want to go for that risk when he's not actually fighting for championship points or wins or stuff like that. But
as well, is this the new Marquez? Because he said his goal for 2018 is to crash less. So is this a new mentality for him?
It could be.
Okay, we don't need to show our pace until the race, sort of thing. So yeah, interesting. Along with what Jamie was on about with the fairings and the frames, they also have a brand new engine, and it's meant to be a lot smoother power delivery. The torque is a lot smoother. It's not like as you saw in 2017 when the bike goes up onto the back wheel, it's like shaking around. It's a lot. It's in general, it's a lot nicer of a bike, and yeah, that was their main focus, because they had 3 bikes in the garage. They had 2 2018 bikes and 1 2017 bike. Crutchlow, he had 3 2018 bikes, all all of them bikes, different things on them, being obviously the aerofairing, engines, stuff like that. So I think for Marquez, I think it was all about the engine, trying to get the engine to how he wants it. So I still think there's a lot more to come from Marc Marquez and the rest of the Honda team. Once we get over to Buriram as well, obviously new track for everybody, so it's all nice and level. So we'll see. We might maybe see a little bit more of who has the pace, because you know some people might like Sepang more than others and might just get on better there. So Buriram, if it's like a bit more level, it might. The first day could be interesting. We could maybe see some more surprise results. But yeah, Marc Marquez down in the 8th position, ahead of the 9th Valentino Rossi.
Well, once again, he vanished. Day 3 came and his pace was evaporated. Obviously, he might have not tried to go for a lap. Like we keep saying, you know, it's testing. There isn't really any point in trying to break a record in testing, because you're not really going to win anything from it, apart from everyone knows that you're quick and they know who to look at throughout the season. But Valentino Rossi P9 with a time of a 1:59.39.
Yeah, and as well, he was the last rider, right up to Jack Miller, who was in 5th, so 5th to 9th. He was the last rider with a 59.3. So that's like 4 riders who were separated by 50 thousandths of a second.
That is actually quite crazy. I didn't even realise that.
And if you look at it as well, there is 4 different manufacturers out of... No, 3? 1, 2, 3... No, 4. Mad.
Yeah, that is mad. You got Suzuki, Yamaha, Honda, and Ducati. Yeah, but Valentino, well, I don't know. Maybe it is the livery. Maybe the livery affected them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even actually mind the new livery. Leave it down in the comments what you guys think about the livery with the YM. You know, for me, when it's actually in natural sunlight, it looks really good because the blue is very dark. But when it has lights on it, nah, bro. I can't even. When Lozeo comes, seeing that bike, I think I might be a bit disgusted. It's all going to be shiny and stuff. But
I have a feeling it is going to actually look kind of decent in Lozeo. I don't know why.
I don't know. I think it's going to look funky. I do hope when Lozeo comes, you don't have none of that wet weather garbage that we had this year, because that was just horrendous. Yeah. But back to Sepang. Obviously, won't be seeing Sepang again for a while, till right at the end of this season. But yeah, Valentino Rossi P9. Surely, he'll be further up there when the actual season starts, when it starts getting, competitive and serious. He said the test was overall positive, and the bike is going into the right direction, so that's good. Both Yamaha riders did test some T-trays.
Carbon. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can go by carbon folded wings to the frame, or we could just call them some T-trays. They're these massive things.
I was going to say as well, they were testing carbon and then the standard metal Olin forks as well, which we heard they were doing that in Brno last year as well in the test. They were doing some carbon and standard Olin forks. They've gone back to that in Sepang. But yeah, more importantly, as Jamie was on about, the melted folded T-trays that was on the side of the M1.
It looks interesting. From the front view, it doesn't actually look too bad. It looks like a normal wing. But when one of the pictures you sent was like side angle.
It was from the side, yeah. You can see all where it's been projected.
It looked a bit horrendous, really. I mean, obviously, when it has colours on it, it will fade in with the bike. You might not realise as much, but it does look interesting. It's a bit more abstract.
You say that. 2016, it didn't have any colours on it. It was just some carbon black thing. So
I mean, that is true. But Yamaha, you're not doing that again.
No,
but
if you're watching this, you're painting your wings.
You're painting them. So is Honda with their hammerhead. But
they will, by the way, you will see that in 2018 because they have been approved by Mike Webb. They are allowed because they are folded over, like we said, so there's no kind of pointy edges that can stab anybody, and they are not wider than the bike, and it's all nice and Gucci for Yamaha.
But it's more abstract compared to the other teams. Obviously, lots of teams, many bikes we've seen like a hammerhead, sort of thing. Mainly Ducatis, Honda. A couple of the lower Ducati teams, Aprilia even have a kind of sort of hammerheady thing. KTM, I think, tested one too. And then we got Yamaha just popped out with this thing.
Pathetic. Folded
this folded thing. Obviously, it might not look visually interesting. It might look disgusting. But if it does the job, if it does the job, then who cares what on earth it looks like? As long as they paint it. If they don't paint it, then Jerez, I'm going to go to that garage and I'm going to be knocking on the door thing. And I'm like, oi, give me a paintbrush.
Just walking with a tin of dark blue spray paint. And yeah.
If you won't paint it, I'll paint it. But yeah, hopefully it all goes well for both Yamaha riders. They did say they will be using these wings for some races, because some tracks it could really work, and then other tracks it won't work too much. So that should be interesting. Obviously, I think throughout the entire season, probably for every team, we're going to see different frames. Sometimes we'll see an aerodynamic frame. Sometimes we'll see a normal one. I think they'll just keep switching throughout the year, similar to last year. But I think this year it's just going to be, I don't know, more, because obviously now every single team has them, whereas last year it was kind of like only Ducati really, whereas this year we've seen every single team pop out something funky for the aero. It's going a little bit back to 2016 I think it was, when everyone had aero,
everyone had wings.
It's going back to that. But they're not wings because they're not classed as wings anymore. It's aerodynamics.
That's what made me laugh in Rossi's interview. He said, with the wings, well, not wings, but the wings. I was like, yeah, exactly. Now, apart from the wings, they also tested 2 different 2018 engines and then also 2 different chassis, which were based on the 2016 style. Because obviously 2017, that was their main problem. The frame of the bike wasn't working with anything really, so they've gone back to the 2016 style, and as Jamie said earlier, Rossi said it went all nice and positive, and actually the next man who is on the list, Johan Zarco, he ended the day in 10th. Now he ran the 2017 frame the 2017 bike in Valencia and topped the timesheets, I believe, or at least topped it at one point in the session. He set the fastest time on that bike. Everyone was like, oh, hang on a minute, Zarco could ride it, but Maverick and Rossi struggled, blah, blah, blah. Zarco tried it at Sepang, don't like it, and he's going for the 2016 frame for the 2018 season. So let's just clear that one up before we move on to him. So, yeah, Zarco, 10th position. Not
bad. Obviously, the field's a lot closer now, so obviously you're going to have to pull something out the bag. But like you said about the frames, he said the 2017 one was a bit faster, but not. I don't know. It's like it was faster, maybe for one lap, but not overall.
It's faster, but he feels like from
probably not as comfortable
start to finish. From start to finish, he can be faster on the 2016 one, because obviously the 2017 has more tyre wear issues. It's a lot more aggressive with the rear, so he just feels. He's kind of Zarco. He's kind of like a hybrid bike, can be quite aggressive as well. We've seen, so that little bit extra support from the frame on the back wheel might just help him a little bit.
What engines do Tech 3 have? Do they have the 2018 engines for both of their bikes, or what? Because it's a bit of a mixture, Tech 3. So they get all the parts from Yamaha. Normally the older parts.
I would have thought it would have been the 2017 engine. I mean, I haven't got anything on.
But I don't know, because I saw something the other day that was saying something about Zarco will be using like a 2018 thing, but with a 2016, like the chassis malarkey, that frame, I didn't really know what was going on. Sort of a bit of a mixed match of materials on that bike, but he is in P10 for Monster Yamaha Tech 3. Obviously, we don't know who's going to be his teammate yet next season. It would be nice to get the news sooner rather than later, so we can do videos on it. But we don't know. The actual rider that did ride on it done nothing, but we'll get to him way later on in the video, because it's quite far down. But Johan Zarco, E10, not too bad. I definitely think he's going to be out there again this year, but fighting for the podiums. Hopefully he'll win. He got close in Valencia, but Danny kind of professored him and took that win. But it would be nice to see Zarco back up there, a very little aggressive French rider. And he is the last rider to round off that top 10 with a 159.5. And following him very closely by a couple thousandths of a second is Danilo Petrucci, who is on the other Alma Pramac Racing Ducati, but he is on the GP18 model. At least that's what we expected. That's how it went last year. rider number 1 had the new bike, rider number 2 had the old bike. So, yeah, he's quite low down for saying he is on this new bike, but he might have not wanted to go for a fast lap. Obviously, he was explaining how he's lost weight to be able
4 kilograms.
to ride better. He needs to be a little bit smoother on the throttle.
You see on TV as well, the main reason he's lost the weight is because his weight on the back and the way he rides, because instead of opening the throttle like that, nice and smooth, he just goes bam. So it's full. It's like 0% to 100%, and he spins and he slides because that's how he wants to ride it. But then when he gets to the end of the race, the most important part of the race, he hasn't really got anything to fight with. And also, Ducati's kind of helped him with that because they've got a new chassis, more material below the swing arm pivot, which helps kind of the rear part of the bike. The pivot's been moved up, so it's more stability. There's also a new fuel tank, but that doesn't really help with the rear tyre issues. But there is a new fuel tank for Ducati, which I forgot to mention with Dovizioso and Lorenzo. And apparently that was only stage 1, and stage 2 is to come in Buriram. So even more parts for Ducati, which could help Petrucci as well with his little bit of an issue. But yeah, Petrucci, I'd be a little bit embarrassed if I was him to be beat by Miller.
I mean, yeah, like you might have not really gone for a time, you never know, but I would have thought it would have been a bit higher. I don't know. I expect him to be up there, like last year, the odd time here and there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I feel like Jack's just going to be overall better. I mean, Petrucci kind of came from nothingness.
Yeah.
Jack Miller, you know, he's been in different classes, Moto3, obviously, almost won the title. He's had a couple rough years on the Honda. Didn't really get too much help from HRC, so he decided to go to Ducati. And his very first ever time on it, he's done a very, very good lap. So, I don't know, I feel like Danilo's going to be definitely threatened this year by his teammate. Obviously, Scott Redding last year wasn't really too much of a fright into that little teammate battle. But obviously, we do know that Danilo Petrucci will not be in this team in 2019. He will be Vamosing to Aprilia. Well, that's at least what we think. That is
what we believe from what we've been told and what we've heard. Aprilia, you might have seen the video that we uploaded. If you haven't, I recommend you go back to, I'm going to guess, 6 videos before this one. That's when we uploaded that, and so I recommend
is going to be
that.
Interesting. It'll be quite a bummer for Ducati if he does really well this season, and they've kind of already sorted out this kind of like deal with Bagnaia or whatever's going on. But he feels like he's not in that team anymore. He feels like his ride has already been signed off to Francesco Bagnaia. So I mean, I'm looking forward for that if that does happen. I think Bagnaia will be quite good on the Pramac, but I don't know. Hopefully, whatever happens, if Danilo does do well this year, hopefully he does those to a good bike. But if it is going to be Aprilia, I don't know. That's a good machine, but we'll get to Aprilia in where is the closest Aprilia? Not too far away, actually. Aprilia are obviously a very interesting manufacturer, but we'll talk about them soon. Next up, we have another rider on a different bike from last season, Tito Rabat. Obviously, he came from Mark VDS Honda, and he is on the Real Avintia Racing, and he looks a lot better on the Ducati than what he looked like on the Honda too.
He's only 2/10 off the reigning world champion. Not gonna lie, if you told me that before Sepang, I'd have laughed at you. But this new Ducati is obviously gone back to oh, the dog shut up. He's obviously gone back. He's obviously gone back to a team that he knows very, very well, and his new Ducati that he's on for the 2018 season, it's just everything seems to be going well for him, and that time that he put in, a 1:59.5, has proved that once again he feels comfortable on it, and hopefully he can prove that he belongs in MotoGP.
I feel like he's going to have a similar situation to like Lorenzo, like with the new bike, the aero, and like it just feels overall better for him. because he looked way better riding that bike. He even said himself, you know, feels way more comfortable. Feels like the bike suits him more. It should be interesting. Hoping he does well. He does kind of need to do well. You know, last 2 years haven't been exactly amazing. He hasn't been on an amazing bike, but I don't know. It feels like all these younger riders that come into the sport and come on a Honda, they don't do nothing. Their career just stays there of nothingness. And he's gone to another team now, so he does need to obviously show some talent. If not, I think it would be a wise thing to maybe send him back to Moto 2, like the previous rider on that bike, and get someone new. But these are about P12. Should expect a couple top 10s. Definitely more frequent points from him this year if he wants to stay in MotoGP. Is obviously doesn't have a lot of money, so he could probably just pay for his seat, but that's not wise. And hopefully he does do well though. Following him though is the rider that was on about before, who I would imagine left the test very angry. I know I would have if I had been given 3 days to test brand new parts and
he said,
2 of them blew up.
I've got the exact quote in our His Rest Reviews Facebook chat where we leave all our notes from testing. Ian O'Neill, not happy but remains positive. That's the words from Ian O'Neill in a very interesting interview, it must be said. You could just tell he wasn't in the mood for talking. So, Ian O'Neill, not happy but still remains positive going into the next test in Buriram, where hopefully things can actually work for him. But yeah, like we said earlier on in the Let's Talk, he did have a few issues with the bike packing up, and spent a lot of the time
sat down watching everyone else.
sat down, learning, watching the TV. Well, there's no TVs in testing, so he'd just be sat
hearing the bikes,
thinking, why didn't I get sacked for Johnny Ray? So P13. He had a good end to the 2017 season. Hopefully, he can carry that form into 2018. But if Suzuki keep their reliability, it's going to be tough, I think, because 2 engines in 2 days.
Definitely a bit disappointing.
Not how they wanted to start in 2018.
Obviously, they do have, like I said before, the concessions, so they can sort that out. Might take time, might not take time, who knows? But hopefully, he is back up there. Andre Iannone, for me, has always been a rider that has the capability to win a championship, but makes, you know, like silly, floppy, silly, chatting nonsense mistakes. Obviously, we saw Magic Ducati, he was a very good rider. He won Austria in the fashion. And then we thought when he went on to the Suzuki that he was going to do really good, because obviously in the pre-season testing of last year on this track, you know, he was doing really good times. Lozeo, I think he was. I don't know if he started on the front row or he started really close up there, but it was in the he was in the front group. You know, on the podium spot. He fell off, obviously. And then there was nothing till right at the end of the season. So hopefully it does start positive, although it hasn't. But hopefully the actual season itself starts positive. Obviously this test has probably started in the worst way you could imagine. You know, you get all these new parts. I don't know how many bikes each rider had. I don't know about all that malarkey. Obviously, we do know about some riders. I don't really know about Iannone. But you would have thought he would have had different things to test, different aerodynamics. And then to go out and your bike just kind of like blow up, and then you just sit in your garage just doing nothing and leaving early. It isn't quite the best way to start that season. But yeah, it's I'm hoping it goes positive for him. I don't know, like again, he needs to also perform this year. Obviously last year it might have been the bike. The minute Suzuki fixed something, which I still don't know what it is, but they changed something, and then suddenly both riders are up there. But if he doesn't do well, I think it would be wise to drop him.
I agree.
I don't know, I think he might still deserve a MotoGP seat, maybe in Aprilia or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, if they bring in what we, again, have been told and read and whatever, this new satellite Suzuki that they're thinking about bringing in, they could just drop him into that.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rumours about these satellite teams. Obviously, KTM want to do one also, and all that. So it's going to be interesting. We might get a whole bunch of bikes on the paddock soon. Might have more MotoGP bikes in Moto 3. for all we know, which would be interesting. But
get a HRSGP news back.
Get a helmet or a bike, or just have our logo on the handlebar. Just put us somewhere. Come on, lads. But yeah, Andrea Iannone, P13. Not really too much to say from him, really, because we obviously don't really know what the pace is going to be like for him, because he unfortunately just couldn't ride. But behind him is Alicia Spargaro on the Aprilia, the first Aprilia. But like, it's not a factory bike because they're a Gresini or something stupid like that. That's what I was talking about last year, where it wasn't a factory bike, but it is a factory bike. Never understood all that. A little papping on in the last year's malarkey. Aprilia is not a factory team, but it is a factory team. Don't know, but
Aprilia. They had a few things that they want to test. The new engine, which gives more mid-range power, so they're obviously happy with acceleration, but kind of in the middle of, you know, acceleration and top end. That just, I don't really know how to explain it really. They weren't really happy. That's why they felt they were losing it. So they've added more mid-range power to kind of be a bit more competitive in a straight line. They've also adjusted swing arms and the frame for changing direction and also mid-corner improvement. So that's their main focus for Sepang, and they have still got a lot more to test in Thailand in I believe 2 weeks' time. It
is quite so. I do hope Aprilia they actually do something, because
yeah, so do I.
It's gone a bit ridiculous now. Obviously, the very first season they came in was embarrassing, you could say, and then it got a little bit better, but not really. And then last year was I don't even know what last year was. I had one bike doing stuff before crashing, and then the other one not doing anything but crashing also. So it was all a bit interesting last year. I do hope they do finally do something, because it is a factory, even they say they're not a factory because they're Gresini or whatever they pap on about. But it is a factory. They do have maybe not as much money, obviously, as like Ducati, Yamaha, Honda, and like those kind of bikes, but they do have the capability to do something, and they really do need to beat KTM this year. It was their main goal last year, and KTM they kind of threatened them quite a bit with those top tens and stuff, whereas Aprilia is not really doing that. But hopefully this year they do. They do have a new rider, and also Alicia Spargaro has had a couple little seasons, one or two, I don't even know, on this bike, so he does know what it's all about. It looks more MotoGP like. Yeah, this year looks a bit fatter. Yeah, it's just overall better.
It just looks, because I think that helps as well with I think that's mainly because they've signed Scott, and they didn't want him climbing on a little tiny bike, so they've bulked it out a bit, gave it some steroids, and like Jamie said, it just looks overall like a more MotoGP bike, a lot meaner, a lot it just looks.
It looks faster, but ready. It's not really going too much faster at the moment. But it will. It just
looks ready to go racing MotoGP. The other one just looked like some little tiny thing that just.
The other one was just really a one alone superbike on the MotoGP grid.
Yeah,
a bit. And
now, when I went to Silverstone last year for the MotoGP, I sat at the right-hander before Farm. I can't remember what it's called, that right, but it's the F1 turn 1, basically. And I was watching Aprilia mainly through that right. Everybody would go through the right and then go to the left. They were in the middle of the track, so they set themselves nicely for the left. The Aprilia was going wider, wider, and then for that left, which is quite a fast left, this Farm, you know, they were losing a lot of time there, and I can see every single lap they were losing 2-3 tenths, and then having to really work hard on the brakes into the tight little hairpins. So
which then led to crashing.
Was like, yeah, exactly. That, like I said, that was their main focus, and I will be watching that when I go to Silverstone. I'm sat in the same place, so I'll be watching that once again to see if they have improved that mid-turning, which they reckon they have. But I'll be able to...
We'll soon see. Aprilia have also tested a hammerhead-looking thing. It's a bit lower down, though. I think, if I remember from when I looked at the image, it looked a bit lower down than Ducati,
that as well. Honda,
and other things like that. But he is in P14, just ahead of the first and fastest, at the moment, new rookie of MotoGP, Takaki Nakagami. Now, I'm not even going to lie, I wasn't expecting him to be the fastest rookie. I did think it was going to be Morbidelli. I just kind of naturally thought, Morbidelli, way better than Nakagami. But, Nakagami looks like he's adapted pretty well to his LCR Hijomeatman Honda. 2 minutes flat, pretty much. 71,000 was out, but 2 minutes, 0.071. So he was almost
good
in
time,
the 159.
Really, for a rookie.
Pretty good time from himself. In fact, I was looking at the right time. Never mind. But Takaki Nakagami. If it was a race, that would have been a point for the rookie. But yeah, his bike actually looks really cool. The whole Hijomeatman livery looks really nice on the MotoGP bike. We are imagining it's going to look somewhat similar in the lower categories. It looks quite nice. I don't, like I said before, about Cal, I think it was. I don't know if he tested the Hammerhead. I've not seen no images with him riding it, but I would imagine probably most Honda riders did have a little go on it, just to see what it's all about. But I personally did not see no images. But Takaki Nakagami, the fastest rookie. Don't know, I wasn't expecting that from him.
No, I wasn't really. I wasn't. And well, he's got a big gap as well to the next guy. Really, 2/10 over what is a pretty experienced rider on the newly named Andel Nieto team. Obviously, Andel Nieto lost his life in Ibiza earlier last year in a quad biking accident, and Bautista in 16th position behind the Japanese rookie. I thought Bautista would have been a little bit higher.
Same.
Not gonna lie.
He also
on that black, white, and yellow bike. Yes, he's also tested the Hammerhead.
Of aerodynamics. It looked, it looked different. It looked, on one of the images, it looked like the one that Lorenzo used last year.
Yeah.
It looked like that one, just painted white. But
I think that will be because he is on last year's... Or is he on this year's bike?
Nah, I don't even know anymore. Ducati, they've got this complicated thing going on where one rider's on a different bike than the other one. But it definitely did not look like the Hammerhead that Jack has ridden, Dobby's ridden. Well, I don't know if actually Dobby's actually ridden or not. Lorenzo's ridden. It looked different. Petruccio's also ridden this new one. It looked exactly the same as Lorenzo's one of last season on Bautista's bike. But new branded name, Angel Nieto. Hopefully the livery looks exciting this year instead of just white and bland. But yeah, Alvaro Bautista, he'll be looking to do a bit better this year. On that Ducati, obviously, I don't know which one he's on, but either one, I believe, is a good one. GP17 or the GP18, I think they're both going to be very good bikes. So he does need to do well. He has had little what's the word? Little moments, I suppose. Moments of potential of pace where he's shown that he can do lap times. But then he just does things like Catalunya and he picks up his bike and it just falls over and it's all just a bit embarrassing. But Alvaro Bautista, hopefully it does go well for him. He's getting a little old now, I think. Well, I don't know, a little bit older, more experienced. So all these riders that are a bit older, they need to do stuff. They need to get results because there's all these young people in Moto2 that are just waiting to take one of these seats. And they don't want to stay there all their lives. They want to go in. And you've got all these kind of people hogging these seats, not doing too much. But hopefully Alvaro does well for the Angel Nieto team. He has destroyed his teammate. And it'll probably be the similar case throughout the season. But he is just ahead of Paul Espargaro. We've got a whole bunch of KTMs. Now we've got 3 KTMs here in a row.
The next 3 riders are KTMs.
So the order of these 3 KTMs is Paul Espargaro, Mika Kale, Bradley Smith. The normal order of last year when we saw these 3 riders together.
Yes.
Paul Espargaro, very, very good. 2 minutes, 0.262. I don't actually know how much faster that is to the time they set last year. I would have thought...
I will take a look.
I would have thought it's quite decent. But the KTM, they have tested a number of different bikes. They've tested the wings. Yes,
I have some information on that.
They have tested the wings of like the last year ones, the ones that were kind of up the top, kind of folded down. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like these little things that went down. And then they've tested a new one that looked like a Hammerhead, I think, but it was lower down too, I believe. I don't know. It looked a bit interesting. They've tested that.
Paul was just a 10th off his qualifying time last year, so
Not bad, but what time did they actually set in the pre-season? Is that anywhere to be seen?
Pre-season, I don't think I can get the pre-season.
Because I would have thought this time would have been quite a bit quicker. I don't know. I kind of imagine. I think 2:03 rings a bell looking at that number down there. I'm not sure though, but yeah, Paul Espargaro, very good lap time. Like I said, KTM, they've been testing a number of different machines. I think they had 6 bikes, didn't they, or something like that? I don't know. They had lots of bikes.
Let me just scroll up and get the photo. Right, Paul Espargaro said that he and Bradley have 3 bikes each, so yeah, 6 bikes, and then also Mika had some as well, so maybe even more.
Maybe more bikes.
Oh. But yeah, like Jamie said, they did test the Hammerhead. They tested the fairing that they had. Well, I say the Hammerhead, the Hammerhead style. They tested the one that they had last year, the kind of rectangles at the front of the bike. And overall, the impressions that we got, it looked pretty good, really.
And they got more stuff coming up, which should be obviously exciting. This team obviously also having the concessions. I think this year they're definitely going to take a lot more risks with the way they approach the the development, stuff like that, because they want to get to the top as quick as they can. The goal this year, I saw on a thing, they want to try and get into the top 5. Not oftenly, I don't imagine, but they want to get as close to that top 5 as they can. Maybe even finish the top 5 at times. Also, we saw at the start of last year, they were practically dead last, seconds off of the pace, and then they ended up finishing in the top 10 in quite a lot of races and getting really good points. So I don't really feel like they're going in the right direction. They know what they're doing. And they have a really, really good lineup waiting for them in the future with the 2 riders in Moto 2. So KTM, they look like they're doing everything really well. Obviously, they have a brilliant test rider also of Mika Kallio.
Yeah.
So it looks like KTM, they've just got everything all perfect. They've got Pole, very good rider. Bradley Smith, very good on his day. He's not always really too brilliant, but when it is the day, he does shine. So they have a good lineup. Hopefully, both runners they do score a lot of points this year, and they beat a pretty they challenge more top 10s oftenly. Maybe a top 5, top 6, stuff like that. It would be obviously exciting. Just imagine a group of P1 where you've got like a Yamaha, a Honda, Ducati, a Suzuki, a KTM. Is there any bikes I'm missing there? I don't even know. Aprilia in the front group.
Now, apart from the fairings, I've just had a scroll through Twitter Watch. Have a look. KTM had the fairings that Yamaha copied last year, the little rectangles. They had more of a, I want to say more of a Honda style. It's like the Hammerhead that Ducati had last year, but if I'm trying to picture it in my head. Ducati had kind of 2 rectangles. It kind of went out and then a rectangle and then under a rectangle, whereas the KTM one is like one massive one sort of thing. One big rectangle on the side instead of 2 little squares. That's the word I was using or looking for. And then also, if I scroll back up, Bradley Smith also had another more... It looked like more of a combined one. It had the rectangles at the front and then more like a bit of a Yamaha style spooned fairing, but the actual intake of the aerodynamic hole was a lot smaller than the one that Mika Kallio was running earlier on in the day. So there was a lot of different fairings for KTM, and which one will we see? Will we see the big hole, the small hole, or the rectangle at the front of the bike?
I don't know. I can imagine both of them being on totally different ones when it comes to Qatar.
Yeah.
I mean, Milestone, they're not going to know what to do in their game. all these different
when the
frames.
game comes out, which whilst we're on the topic of Milestone real quickly, I'll add a plug. We'll be dropping a couple of videos out over the next couple of days or weeks on some game ideas. It's a bit different for the channel, but yeah, we're going to go for the game ideas. So yeah, KTM, lots of different variants, lots of testing. They tested a lot on the electronics because that was electronics in general is a very big part of MotoGP, and that's their main focus throughout the 3 days for the Austrian team.
And they didn't do too shabby either.
No.
Now, behind them 3 KTMs is the guy that I thought was going to be the fastest rookie, but he's not. Is Franco Morbidelli. He is in P20. I mean, it's not. I don't know. The lap time's not. It's not like it's too dreadful or anything. You would expect him to only go faster. It is the first ever time he's riding the MotoGP bike around this track, and I don't know. It might even be the first time he's riding the actual 2018 Honda, because I think they're on it too. Or they're on 2017. I don't even know anymore.
One thing we forgot to mention, sorry, with KTM is Paulo Espargaro. He set his time on day 2 because day 3, he missed day 3 because right at the end of day 2, he come into I think it was turn 1, grabbed the front brake, the front wheel locked up and sent it to a wall at 250 kilometers an hour. And he's got no broken bones. He's fine. He just got advice to skip out of day 3 because obviously he was very shook up after a high speed crash. But he got away lightly for that. You see a footballer. I think we say this. I think somehow, at least, I think the Valencia one might have only been the Valencia one for 2018 season might have been the only one where we haven't dropped in a footballer gets tapped on the ankle and he's rolling around on the floor. I think sometimes we always drop that in. But yeah, anyway, back to the Italian Morbidelli on Mark VDS. As Jamie said, 20th, 2 minutes, 0.526. And like Jamie said as well, I thought he would have been the top rookie, but no, Nakagami got that one. So yeah, you sent me a few photos over there on Instagram, and Morbidelli's looking very good.
He looks really good. I don't actually know what Honda he's on. I think they're on the 2017 one. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it said Mark BDS was using the 2017 one. Once again, I don't know if he tested the hammerhead kind of thing. I can't actually even picture such thing on the Mark BDS, to be honest. But he might have.
I didn't see any.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see any.
So I don't know, but he looks really good on the bike, like the riding style and stuff. It looks good. But it is his first ever season on MotoGP. He will only get better. I would have thought so. It would have been a bit depressing if he doesn't. But he is ahead of KO Abraham at least. You know, the rider that bought his seat. Who shouldn't even be there. I mean, there's a couple of riders here. Well, yeah, literally two people that shouldn't be here. But KO Abraham on the other Angel Nieto Ducati bike. Don't know really. He's just
no. I think as well. I think we might drop this in every Let's Talk. It's just. Throw back to Argentina last year. He qualifies in the middle of the front row in the wet conditions. He goes, this is why I'm meant to be MotoGP.
Yep.
Halfway round lap 1, he's outside the points. And it's like, mate, you started on the front row, now you're like 18th and you're halfway round lap 1. Just get out. But no, he's still here. His wallet is still nice and thick.
To see.
And,
not as frustrating as this name, though. Xavier Simeon, obviously, done nothing in Moto 2 any of the years really.
23rd in the championship,
and he's in MotoGP.
He's in MotoGP.
Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense. Really.
I mean, like Alex Marquez, for example, he's done well. He could have gone up, but no. Instead, they just go, he's got money. Dorna want a Belgian rider even though they're not having a Belgium circuit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There's no
Simeon coming.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe having a Belgian rider on the grid might bring more Belgian people to Germany for the Santorin Grand Prix. But even so, why would you want to go to see your guy running at last? That's a bit depressing. You'd feel embarrassed if I was at a track waving a Belgian flag for a guy coming around and lost.
I saw a video on Facebook of Simeon coming into turn 3, the uphill right-hander. And I have to say, he looked really quick. But then when you kind of look at the rest of the lap and the lap time, he is, if you take away the test riders, he is in 21st out of 23. Yeah,
he's ahead of a rookie come from injury, and then Redding, who I don't know what he's doing.
Well, we'll move on to him in a minute. He's adapting, as he says.
He's adapting. But yeah, Xavier Simeon, it's just frustrating seeing his name there, you know. Thomas Luthi, who is now in MotoGP, but he has been in Moto2 since the beginning, and he's always finished, I think it was inside the top 5, apart from one season where he finished 6th. And he's only just got in MotoGP, and this stupid Belgium rider finished nowhere in any of the championships, and he's going to MotoGP the same year as Thomas Luthi.
He's got one win. If I'm not mistaken, he's got one win, and that was in Sachsenring in Moto2.
And it's just frustrating that he's going to MotoGP at the same time as Luthi, who's been a title contender pretty much his entire Moto2 career. He's done things. He's got podiums. He's won races and whatever. And he's only just got into it. And probably because there wasn't too many other options for Mark BDS in the end of the day.
Yeah, here we go. Right, you ready for this? Javier Simeon. 127 starts in Moto2. He's been in it from 2010, obviously, to last season. He's rode Moriwaki, Tech3, Kalex, Suter and Speed Up. No champions. 2017, here we go. 23rd position. He only scored 16 points.
It's just awful.
He's had 127 starts. The one win that I just mentioned in Sachsenring, I'm quite impressed I got that right. I thought he might have sneaked in one other somewhere else, but no. 4 podiums. I can't tell you where. Obviously, one of them Sachsenring.
Yeah.
2 pole positions. 1 fastest lap.
Yeah, it's just garbage.
This guy's in MotoGP.
Garbage stats. I don't know if they was looking at Moto2, like this team, the Real Vintia, the Ducati, they were looking at Moto2 riders for, to take that seat. There were some decent options. Bagnaia, Bagnaia I think would be out on the Pramac. I don't know, there was just so many other riders that you could have gone for, but instead they went for the guy in 23rd. Why didn't they go for the guy in 14th, 13th, 12th,
exactly.
Passini? I don't know, there's so many riders that they could have gone for.
Yeah, well, Passini or, I don't know, Siren, anybody. But, no. I'm just looking at Simeon's results in 2017. 15th in Qatar, retired in Argentina, 13th in America. Spain was 19th, France was 16th, Italy was 15th, 20th in Catalonia, 7 in Assen, 14th in Germany, 23rd in Czech Republic, retired in Austria, didn't even race in Silverstone, retired in Misano, 25th in Aragon, retired in Japan, didn't even start the race in Australia because he had a big crash, didn't he, at the final corner, I think. Didn't race in Malaysia, retired in Valencia.
It's just garbage, and the fact is there, it's depressing, and they done it for the reason that they want a Belgian rider. He might bring more sponsors, I don't know. The bike might look exactly the same as last year, it might have brought no sponsors, but there's no point in signing...
Doesn't matter. I don't care about a sticker on a bike.
There's no point.
I want to see a rider who deserves that, who can fight for the position a bike should be, not just ride round in last.
There's no point bringing a Belgian rider.
Again in the championship.
There's no point bringing a Belgian rider to the MotoGP. There's no Belgian track, and the Belgian fans aren't going to go to Germany to see their guy in last because that's just pointless. But they could have gone for Passini. Could have brought, I don't know, way more Italians in Misano or something. I don't know, Mugello and stuff like that. Exactly. They could have gone Bagnaia.
It's just...
Although Bagnaia is probably not really allowed, probably leave that little Sky Malarkey or probably Pramac and Jerry and all that lucky. I don't know, there's so many other riders that they could have gone for. I mean, it doesn't even have to be someone that's like really stands out, but at least you could have gone for someone in the top 15, top 10, top 23rd. I mean, bruh, that's not a lot.
I know.
So that's a bit interesting, but whatever.
Now, you were saying, why did the Belgians want to go over and watch someone riding in last? Now, if the next rider keeps up the form, that's what I'll be doing, going to Silverstone to watch my rider ride around at the back. Scott Redding, hopefully that's not the case. Obviously, it's his second test on that bike, so he's still adapting. Obviously, everyone's saying, oh yeah, well, he's had Valencia to get used to it. The bike that was at Sepang compared to Valencia is completely different.
Yeah, it's not.
And the bike that they had in Sepang compared to the bike that they'll have in Thailand is completely different. To be fair, probably Qatar and Argentina, the bike could be completely different again. So, obviously, he's still getting used to the Aprilia. Obviously, I'd imagine it'd be a lot easier to ride because the Ducati is quite bigger, it's a lot faster, it's just all round a lot meaner. So I'd imagine getting on an Aprilia compared to a Ducati would be
nice.
Like, yeah, but it would be like going from fighting a lion to fighting a cat.
I mean, well, yeah.
You get beat up to
in the straight line, you're going from a Mercedes Benz to a Sauber in Formula One.
You come out the corner, you go, right, I'll be braking in a minute. I'm braking in a minute. You look right. Oh, hang on, I'm not even halfway yet.
So hopefully he does get better, because I don't know, Scott looks like he's just been a bit confused about life the last couple of seasons. It looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing anymore.
He must be that confused. He's bought a sheep.
So he's
got a pet
He's a bit
sheep.
confused, but hopefully we will see him. Hopefully he does adapt quickly. He is ahead of a test rider. It's not even the Suzuki X-Star team now. This is a Suzuki test team, so God knows what bike this guy was riding. But Sylvain Quintoli, we would imagine he's riding a similar bike to Rins and, well, maybe not Iannone, but Rins. It did look somewhat similar. It did have... this is probably actually the only team that has... Well, I mean, Yamaha do have that funky little thing, but this team's aero is something else. This is literally
the moustache.
A moustache on the front of the bike. I don't really personally, I don't like it. I think it looks quite disgusting and hideous. But if it does the job, it's whatever. But yeah, Sylvain Quintoli for France.
Sylvain, I think it was on day... Well, it must have been day one, because he only had... I think they only had rain on day one. Oh no, did have a bit of rain on day two, because Marquez crashed. He put a new tyre on and went right. He just thought, I'm invincible, I can ride on a dry tyre on a wet track, and crashed. So yeah, I said that the wrong way around, didn't I? I don't know. Anyway, Sylvain Quintoli, I went on the app and he was actually the second position, not far, like a couple of thousandths off Johan Zarco. And I was like, hang on a minute, is Quintoli got a rocket up his backside? But then obviously he dropped down the order, because he is a test rider, he's a BSB rider, he's not obviously, the quickest. So yeah, he's 20. I mean, he did well in the replacement ride that he did last year. Hopefully we'll see him again in 2018 doing some wild cards.
With the concessions, they can do more wild cards, so
yeah,
it would be wise. I think when you have wild cards, what was it? They could take with the concession, they could take 6 wild cards. I think it was, if I remember from my Calio video from the back of my head.
Yeah.
So if they could put him or another rider. I don't actually know if they have any other test riders which are relevant.
Tsuda.
It'd be if they could put him in 6 races. Obviously, it doesn't collide with these other stuff. And have as many Suzukis as possible going in, into the season for more development, stuff like that. Yeah. That could be helpful. But obviously, we'll soon see about that. But he didn't do too awful. It's not fantastic. But being a test rider and British bike tracks and bikes and tracks in general is nothing like this. So the banter bumpy up and downhill tracks that I went to when I went to England to watch is not very similar to these bikes. So. He didn't do too bad, not too good, but he is ahead of Tom Luthi, which is the final rookie going into this season. Thomas Luthi, the Swiss rider for Mark BDS, or is it Mark BDS Interwetten paddock team? Who knows? It's got a bit of a funky sponsorship on the front there, but
Tom did have a crash as well in testing.
A little slow kind of thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I was half expecting him to be a high side. The way the back come round, I was like, it's gonna grip in a minute and ping him, but luckily it didn't, because he's just come back from 2 broken ankles of that same track. Yeah, it would have been a bit unfortunate, but Tom Luthi, the first, not the first time he's ever ridden a MotoGP bike, but it is the first time he's ever ridden a Honda MotoGP bike. He was, I don't think he was a KTM test rider. I think he was, I don't know, he was more like he rode it once, I think, or twice, something like that. I don't think he was an official test rider. Development rider.
Yeah, so hopefully it does go well for him. He's on a Honda, could be a bit scary. Hopefully it goes well for him. I don't want to see him do bad. It's the first time he's going to MotoGP. No. It's been a long time waiting. And hopefully it all goes well. He is theoretically last if you take out everyone else. But I mean that's just testing, bruh.
But it's had 3 days on.
Yeah, and he's only had 3 days, because other people, Morbidelli, Nakagami, they have ridden the MotoGP bike. Not the bike they're riding in Sepang, but also they rode in Valencia where he couldn't. So he has missed out a lot. Pretty much like Rins last year, he's missing out on important things. But hopefully he's here now to stay and doesn't get no injuries or nothing. But P25 out of 30 riders. It's I don't know if we
Well,
I hope he's
mean,
not too
let's be honest.
disappointed
Let's be
with his
honest.
time.
The rider who's behind him, Yoni Hernandez, who filled in for Folger, who, if you don't know, he's not riding in 2018 because of the Gilbert syndrome that he got at the end of 2017. Now, Yoni Hernandez has got
Couple years.
a fair amount of experience in MotoGP paddock, and for Luti to be ahead of him, I'd say that was a good result for his
I
first
mean, yeah, and you would have thought
time out on
Yoni,
that Honda.
because Yoni's ridden.
I thought Yoni would be a lot higher.
Yoni's ridden a couple of different bikes. He's ridden the Ducati. He was on that
Yeah.
bird thing. I don't even. I think was that a Honda?
Paul
What
Bird
was that
Motorsport.
trash?
That was it was an Aprilia in like little bands.
It's a piece of garbage.
Sarcastic.
Okay, but he rode
speech
that.
bubble
He's ridden a
things.
Ducati. I would have thought, because the Ducati Hero was like the big fat, useless one. I would have thought him going over to the Yamaha, the Tech 3. I thought he would have, I don't know, like adapted really well on it. But he done nothing. So I don't know. That was a bit interesting. Yoni Hernandez clearly maybe not as good as he thought back in the day, but
it was the Aprilia ART in the CRT class that bant Paul Bird malarkey.
yeah,
But yeah,
Yoni, I don't know if he'll be coming back for the next test. I hope the guy in the next test is the one that's going to be riding the bike, because
I think
it would be a wise
I think it
idea.
will. I think if it's not done by Sunday, it will be done next week. The deal,
Because I think
because
they need to sign
time's
him,
ticking.
because they need him to
Because
ride
like
the
you
bike.
said to me, yeah, exactly. Like you said to me, they need to get this guy up to speed before Qatar, because they're not just going to go, right, here's a MotoGP bike, a multi-million euro bike. Now just go race some of the best riders, the best riders in the world.
Obviously if they get him now for the next two tests, obviously the new Thailand GP and then I think the Lausanne one, you know, they can find like a base setup or what he likes, what he doesn't like, what frame he likes, if he likes aerodynamics, if he doesn't like aerodynamics. You know, they can find out all this stuff. Whereas if they keep, you know, putting random riders on it and then they just choose a random guy and goes into Lausanne and he's never ridden it before, or he's never ridden
as well,
like a fast bike before, you know, it's might be a bit sad.
If I'm not mistaken, they have to pick what frame, what fairing, whatever they want to use before Qatar. If I'm not mistaken, they have to have a bike to submit to Dorna and the FIM before they go to Qatar. So if they do sign a rider, say, I don't know, 2 weeks before the race, which is highly unlikely, then he's just going to be thrown in the deep end with whatever they've picked. So, like Jamie said, having him now to test everything to find out what he likes, then they can submit that and have that for the season.
It's a very tricky situation with Tech 3. Obviously, they're looking at Moto 2. They're
Siren. Why Siren?
I don't know. I mean,
that's got to be another Dorna stint. I reckon that's got to be.
I don't know. Yeah,
Dorna
possibly. Stint. I don't know. I don't know if he's,
because
he'll be the
first. I read somewhere, it'll be the first rider in MotoGP from that kind of side of the Asian.
I mean, he's not an awful rider. He's actually kind of decent, but he's not consistent. He's not consistent. That's what lacks.
Yeah.
But that might be the bike or that team. You know, obviously he's on a Tech 3, he might do well. But if they're going to choose him, they need to get him on the bike now.
Nakagami maybe wasn't the most consistent rider either.
And he's not even looking too bad. So
he's the top rookie in both of the tests, I believe.
I mean, it would be quite swaggy. Casually just sign Bagnaia. It's going to be he's going to be riding Rossi's team. You would have thought maybe in the future, or maybe he might stay with Pramac. Who knows? But put him on the Yamaha or something like that. Why not?
Put him on the Yamaha, and he'll already, because you can put your money on Rossi will have a Yamaha for his team, so he's already got Yamaha experience. Then
it would be wise.
Simple.
But I'm just hoping that whoever this rider is going to be, it's not going to be a silly, stupid decision like Avintia signing that stupid rider. So I hope it does go well. Whoever they pick, I think might be like majorly overshadowed by Zarco. I think whoever's going to go on that bike, Zarco is just going to spank them and demolish them. It is very depressing, obviously, that Volga isn't there. So the German fans, it's a massive letdown because now there is no German rider. The closest you're going to get to Germany is a Belgian rider. Not much hope for him either. Nope. So I don't know, they could take a German rider. I mean, I don't know, Gabe Cortese. I mean, I just don't know. There's a couple of riders that kind of are in a bit of an interesting situation in Moto2, but they do need to choose whoever it is going to be, preferably for the next test, to get him on it, and then obviously on it for Losail. I don't know. I'm just hoping it's someone quick and decent.
Yeah.
No money
and
grabbing.
Obviously,
no, none of that.
When Tech 3 do announce their riders, we'll be putting it on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, which you can see down in the bottom left of the screen, also in the description. So make sure that you check out all of those, and then obviously we'll be putting it on here on our YouTube channel as well. But Yoni Hernandez was ahead of the 3 test riders: Yamaha Test 3, Test 2, and Test 1. There's no names, which
obviously I think day one, these times they probably set on a track that wasn't too good, because the test ride number 1, 5 seconds off the pace. So you would have, and it was on day number 1, so you would have thought that would be a tricky kind of condition track. Unless it's just dead awful, you never know. But last place though is Michele Pirro. But once again, day 1, 6 seconds. He's off the pace. Definitely a wetty, or I don't know, like maybe a dynamic track or something when he set that time, and then he might have just gone home, because there's no way Michele Pirro is going to be 6 seconds off the pace on a pure dry track. It's impossible. But yeah, Michele Pirro, he is obviously super happy for Lorenzo. Doing that time in P1, very, very good time. So he's also looking forward for that. He is no longer Lorenzo's coach, actually. It is now Devon. I remember the name. I think it was that. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think I would have quite fancied sticking with Michele Pirro, but whatever. But yeah, I think he's going to be one to look at also. Because obviously he knows the bike better than anyone. He is the test rider, and he will be popping in for the usual wildcards. You would have thought definitely Mugello will be one to look at. I'm actually surprised that Avintia didn't even think about maybe signing him. I don't know if that is possible. I don't know if the factory Ducati team would let him go to a worse Ducati. But
yeah.
I would have, I don't know, I would have thought about that. If I was looking at my Aventia seat, I would have thought, yo, Michele Pirro, he's probably ridden this thing. But no, Xavier Simeon. But yeah, guys, that is the whole 30 riders all covered up in the official test. Obviously, there was more riders in the private test. I don't have personally no clue what happened in that little private test, because it was raining.
No, there was not much.
So that is pretty much it. Very interesting season. Obviously, looking all intense. Next test coming up soon. We've got Lorenzo doing really good, Pedrosa doing really good. Some interesting names not doing so good. But yeah, guys, that was basically the Sepang test. These 3 days. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's quite a long video, actually.
Hit the like. Yeah, we've been recording for an hour and 30, and I've had to type to Jamie. I had to get to hurry up because it's just popped up. The reason my Google crashed is because I've run out of space. I've literally got 0 storage at all because this file was filled it up.
Not too good, but
I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, guys.
So yeah,
hopefully
hope you guys
did enjoy the video. It was a long one. If you're still here, comment. Akuna Matata.
We're not doing this again.
Matata. We're going Akuna Matata again. So yeah, guys, leave a like and subscribe for more content as always. Check out our social medias. Links will all be down in the description. And that is it from the Spaniard of this channel.
Whatever. And that's it from me. Until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you for the next Let's Talk when we talk about Thailand.
Yeah.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, the next Let's Talk after that, which will most likely be... No, hang on. Will most likely be will be the first round of the World Superbike Championship from Phillip Island. So, yeah, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Until then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Ciao.